Coagulation is the most effective hemostatic mechanism. It occurs between 5 to 15 minutes and forms a blood clot. The blood clot arises from a series of reactions, each activating the next in a cascade. Coagulation can occur in two ways, extrinsically or intrinsically. Release of biochemicals from damaged blood vessels or damaged tissues triggers extrinsic clotting mechanism. Blood contact with foreign surfaces in the absence of tissue damage triggers intrinsic clotting mechanism. Blood coagulation is a complex process that uses biochemicals called clotting factors. Each factor is indicated by a Roman numeral to identify the order of their discovery. Blood coagulation depends on the balance between promoting factors, called procoagulants, and others that inhibit it, called anticoagulants. The major event in coagulation is conversion of the soluble plasma protein fibrinogen, factor 1, into soluble threads of the protein fibrin. Activation of the certain plasma proteins by other protein factors triggers conversion of fibrinogen to fibrin. The extrinsic pathway requires tissue because it is outside of the blood vessel to provide tissue factor. Tissue factor then activates factor 7. Factor 7 activates factor 10. Then prothrombin, thrombin, fibrinogen to fibrin trap the red blood cells to form a secondary clot. The intrinsic pathway begins with factor 12. Something within the blood vessel is required for this pathway. The subendothelial collagen, or SEC, activates factor 12 into factor 12A, then to factor 11, then to factor 9, then to factor 8. Factor 10 then follows factor 8. After this, prothrombin, thrombin, fibrinogen, fibrin, then follow, and that completes the intrinsic pathway. In conclusion, there are only two ways to coagulate, these being the intrinsic pathway and the extrinsic pathway. The intrinsic pathway is the longer of the two pathways. It includes more steps compared to the extrinsic, which is also called the shorter cascade. The extrinsic pathway is faster, yet less efficient. The intrinsic pathway is slower, but stronger and more efficient.